So Napoleon was born on the island of Corsica in 1769. Wasn't even technically French. Did he let that stop him from being Emperor of France? No. Alright? Never let anyone stop you from achieving your dreams. So when the French Revolution happened, Napoleon supported it early. He was there first, alright? He was the first to get there, didn't let anybody get there before him. They even kicked him off Corsica because they didn't want to spread the revolution over there. I mean, they didn't want him to win. So then he went to Paris and he volunteered his services to defend the revolutionary government. He made friends with these people. Always important to make good friends and to keep them. So then these royalists tried to stop him. They tried to take the keys from the revolution. And Napoleon was like, no, we're not going to let that happen. So that's where they say that Napoleon gave the royalists a whiff of grapeshot. Grapeshot. So Napoleon done a good job, and the Directory gave him a command in Italy. They said, hey, go over there and conquer. And not only conquer, but there's that picture. So then later, Jacques-Louis David paints him crossing the Alps on a horse, you know, and he's just there like, okay, I've got Hannibal Jordans and Charlemagne Jordans. So then the French thought, we were successful in Italy, well then go to Egypt. So in 1799, Napoleon goes to Egypt, where he's fighting against the Ottoman Empire, but then Admiral Lord Nelson showed up, Battle of the Nile, tried to take the keys from him, defeated the French Navy, defeated. But see, here's the thing, Napoleon didn't let that stop him from being successful. If he couldn't win the battle, then he brought scientists with him, and archaeologists, and all of those kind of people. And so they brought back all kinds of cool stuff from Egypt, including the Rosetta Stone, which allowed people, for the first time, to understand hieroglyphics. Nobody knew what hieroglyphics were. So when Napoleon got back from Egypt, he overthrew the French government, the Directory. He said, look, you know, now he's going to take over. Now he's going to have the key. From 1799 to 1804 was the consulate of Napoleon. This is the time where he's ruling, but he's not yet the emperor. And then bless up, all right, because Napoleon established the Concordat with the Catholic Church. He said, we've got to make things right with the church. And so he sets this agreement. And the Concordat set up Catholicism as the majority religion of France. But you could be whatever religion you want. Toleration. The other thing is the people love Napoleon. French people love Napoleon. And so he had a plebiscite. People voted for him and they said, we want you to be the leader. So Napoleon decides in 1804 it's time to take the keys, all right? And he's going to become the French emperor of the French Empire. So one of the first things he does in 1804, he puts out the French Civil Code, the Napoleonic Code. Napoleon put his name on stuff for all of France. And the Napoleonic Code forbade titles of nobility, and it said people had to get jobs because they were the best. We the best, Napoleon says. And see, here's where it gets complicated, because Napoleon's winning, but they didn't want him to win. The British, the Austrians, the Prussians, the Russians, they didn't want him to win. In 1805, Napoleon faces Russia and Austria, the Battle of Austerlitz, otherwise known as the Battle of the Three Emperors. For those of you who are confused, that's Napoleon and two other emperors. For the Battle of Austerlitz, Napoleon's perfect victory signs a peace treaty with Austria and Russia, and they establish the Continental System. The Continental System. So the Continental System is basically a trade embargo against the British, because the British still didn't want Napoleon to win. How's business, Napoleon? Booming. Then Napoleon has a few setbacks. At Trafalgar, Admiral Lord Nelson defeats Napoleon again. Another one. And then Russia decides that they're not playing along with the Continental System anymore. They're going to trade with Britain. So Napoleon invades Russia in 1812. And that didn't go so well. Napoleon, his grand army, is annihilated by the Russian winter. And after that, Napoleon's never the same. Then Napoleon comes back, finds himself at Leipzig. And at Leipzig, he runs into a coalition of people who don't want him to win. Leipzig is also called the Battle of Nations, and after this, Napoleon was exiled for the first time at Elba. Then Napoleon escapes from Elba. They can't stop him from winning, and he gets out, and he takes over France again in what's called the 100 Days. Then Napoleon faces his final defeat at Waterloo by a coalition army commanded by the Iron Duke of Wellington. after that is Napoleon's second exile, another one at St. Helena, middle of the Atlantic Ocean. He's done. They took the keys from him. They put Napoleon in an unmarked grave because they couldn't decide whether to call him Napoleon Bonaparte or Napoleon I, the emperor. So they just put him there, but everybody knows who's there. They all know who's there. Even in go visit it, everybody knows who's there. That's Napoleon. You don't even have to know a name on it. You know, it's just, the man was a winner. They took the keys from him, but they couldn't really